Listen and subscribe to The Table of Truth on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. Welcome, everybody, to The Table of Truth. This is your man, Cam. Welcome to the special edition, Blerdlines, where we talk everything geek, sci-fi, fantasy, TV, and film, which is the same thing sometimes, and comics. With me, as always,
it's Josh, aka the Black Falcon.
You don't have to put black in front of it. You just say Falcon. You know,
Oh, that would be, oh, sorry.
And special guest.
It's D, man. I'm that U.S. agent.
The black U.S. agent.
The black U.S. agent.
Yes.
I forgot the had to put the black in front of it. Make sure not
Otherwise,
to be confused with John Walker.
There you go.
But yeah, as you can tell by some of the jokes, we're about to talk about the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which just wrapped 6, pretty good episodes. Like, got in, got out, they told the story.
Yeah.
Like, my first impression of the whole series was like, this is enjoyable. Like, I didn't feel like they didn't leave too much meat in the bone. They were like really intentional with a lot of their time and what they wanted to get across.
Yeah.
It was a lot more blackity black than I thought it was going to be, and it actually was for the good. Actually,
yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
But and I think too, as I was telling you guys, it was like, I was for the ending. I was curious to see if they could wrap it all up, and I think that I felt they stuck the landing, pretty well. Where there's there's a little bit of preachy and a little bit of cheese in terms of overall, but I think in general it was a solid ending for a good 6-episode run of the show.
Well, I mean, you can't do you can't pass off the Captain America shield and not have a speech where you're with moralizing. You can't do it.
True.
So
Yeah.
But we're jumping to the end. We're jumping to the end.
Yeah, no, I agree with these guys, and it's interesting because it was such a different field than WandaVision, which I know we'll speak a little bit about that, but it's great to see the TV movie returning in this kind of original form where you can get in, tell a beginning, middle, and end, and then boom, you're out.
Right.
So many of these stories within the last now going on close to 15 years are presented as, oh, this is a limited series. It's a, a one run series. And then it gets so hot that, oh, now we have to extend it to like 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons. And then you just stamp out all of the what was good in it. So this was good. It was well paced. Like you said, it was definitely thematically all black, all and especially surrounding the character of Sam Wilson and his family and his legacy. And I thought they hit on some really good markers with all of that.
Yeah, definitely. It was funny because one of my friends was like, "You mean to tell me that Falcon is an Avenger and he don't got multiple streams of income?"
Yeah, that was weird. That was a little weird.
Yeah, I was like, you can't, my man Rhodey, man, can I break me off with a couple G's so I can make sure my boat's fixed? Like,
well, I know exactly. in the comics they actually lay out that Tony basically gives every Avenger a stipend, so they're never broke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I remember that because they played.
And everybody has quarters at the Avengers mansion, so it's like.
Yeah.
So you couldn't give him a room at the compound. You couldn't break him off with a salary.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, because
which it seemed like they were hinting at that in the movies with Tony often referring to himself as the boss or not the boss, but like the person that funds everything, that pays for everything.
Cap is the boss,
and Cap is the boss. Yeah. So you had that sense that they were hinting at that, or it was never spoken, but that was the case. But
right,
it's like, wow, Sam is like broke, can't even buy his family's boat.
Yeah, exactly.
He saved the world a few times. Yeah, that sucks.
A few times.
Yeah.
He's
No,
like, you
it
know,
kind of
But I
sucks.
mean, you get that it's a plot device, for moving the subplot
For sure.
of discrimination in lending discrimination.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that part of it was because I mean, um, it was funny because in the comics, there's a part where, Tony's basically talking to the Avengers, saying, "All right, this is around the time when Spider-Man joins the Avengers." And they're like, "All right, cool. You know, everybody, get you guys your stipend, bop, bop, bop." And then Parker is like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! I didn't get no money." They're like, "Well, you haven't told us who you are." "Well, I can't tell you my secret." He's like, "Cool, so you don't get paid." So, anyways, guys, let's get. And then that's when,
Tony,
That's
leave it
classic.
to Tony.
and
Leave
that's
it
when
to
That is a
Tony.
Spidey was like,
classic.
"Okay, maybe I have to rethink this. Like, who am I telling?" Like,
Yeah.
so I like to get paid, But anyways, you're right. I think the it was a cool plot device to have an Avenger go for a loan and get denied. And I thought that was like that definitely made me go whoa.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I do
but
have friends who thought it was a little heavy-handed in terms of and this is somebody who is very like power fist pro black, and he was like it landed a little heavy-handed for
yeah,
him. Granted, he was sort of in and out with the series. He didn't watch the whole thing, but it seemed like he happened across it every time there was a black issue that came up. So he was just like, "Oh, come on." So out of context and in a bubble, in a void rather, yeah, I can see how it might land that way. But if you're watching the whole series, like in my opinion, it creates buy-in for you.
yeah. And I think
No, I agree.
I was actually surprised that they brought in Isaiah Bradley, the character, into the
That was
show,
shocking. Yeah.
and actually it helped. I thought overall to kind of show the juxtaposition of like Isaiah Bradley is kind of like the typical viewpoint of black man in America that's been done dirty by America, and then you have
Yeah.
Hmm.
juxtaposition of Sam where he's like, I'm in the army. I actually believe I know shit's fucked up, but I feel like I could do something that could help change it. So I like that they played both of those aspects of it, and then having Bucky being the one that knew who he was and all that helped it tie to that history and kind of doing that. And even Sam getting mad like, "Yo, there's a black super soldier. You didn't tell me."
Right. And then even the two Isaiah and and Sam, Isaiah saying to him, there's something special about you. I don't see things your way, but there's something special about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the two of them reconciling was a strong way of saying, these two different voices
Right.
are
Yeah.
neither are wrong and neither should be ostracized in that way by one or the other or by anyone on the outside looking in, which was represented by Bucky, who, one of the great things about, maybe I'm skipping ahead, about that sort of final moment is the way it's shot in frame, where you have these, as Sam's giving his speech, you have this tight frame of Bucky and John Walker listening but not
Hmm.
saying
Hmm.
Yeah.
anything,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I thought that was important because, again, not throughout this entire story, Bucky has never once patronized Sam about the way
No.
he felt. Like, he gave him his opinion about how he felt about the shield, and there was that start of the patronization. But then Sam set him straight, and then from that moment on, he was more listening than he was speaking.
Yep.
So I thought that was a good um, narrative and visual detail
Yeah. And it
that they follow through on.
yeah, and it was good
We know it was.
because oh
We
wait,
sorry. Go again.
I was gonna say like the biggest fiction is the old black man being like, "Yeah, young blood, all right."
That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
about to say. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Which
You made my
again,
point for me.
that's a biased thing on my behalf because my interaction
No,
with
it's not.
older black
No, it's
people has
not.
always been
No, it's not.
not that.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
I saw that.
That is factual.
I was like, that shit would never happen.
Word.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that must be nice.
Yeah.
However, I like that they did do it because it did give a glimmer of hope and a different viewpoint. Because, like you said, we're jaded in terms of our experiences or whatever. But
Right.
but I like you said, I did like that. At no time did in the show that Bucky ever treat Sam as a sidekick. they were on equal footing the whole time.
They were,
and that part was
right.
really, really dope because we've all known about the the black sidekick trope for Marvel films and like through literally
Yeah.
all their films. So I like that this one literally is like they're on equal footing, and there's never a moment where like one was a sidekick and one wasn't. They're both on the same level, achieving a certain type of goal. And then the only time they even talked about sidekick is when John Walker made that mistake of saying, yo, I need to have Cap wingman. He's like, see.
Yeah.
Now you played yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, which he already had his own, like, that was interesting to have Battlestar there as his. Because I kept thinking, like, man, so on the one hand, on the one side, you break away from the trope, and then on the other side, you clearly have the trope right here. But I think if it were more tongue in cheek, you would have saw it immediately. But I think those two characters were presented as serious, and you didn't want to look at Battlestar as that sidekick, but you couldn't help but see it because it was obviously there.
100%. 100%.
I don't know if the writers intended it to be tongue in cheek because they were juxtapositioning those two versus Sam and Bucky, but it does come off as a little. That's why his death scene was more humorous to me than it was.
Are you laughing at the demise of a black man on film?
Word, come on now.
Only this particular one. Hold on, hear me out.
Black on black crime.
Hear me out. Well, black on black crime thought. That's libel. Listen. I said this particular guy because of the way his character was presented. When it happened, it was sad. It was tragic.
Right.
But it was a little bit humorous because, again, he was there specifically for that.
Yes.
Right.
100%. 100%. Like he was there to be the sidekick that died, that turned Walker and put him over the edge. Now, speaking of Walker, I thought they did Walker pretty well in how they portrayed him, from him getting there to him getting the shield to him kind of like kind of running with it and actually kind of being a solid-ish Cap villain, to the point where he started to feel inadequate. Like when he got his ass whipped by the Wakandas, when he got his ass whipped by Carly, when he got his ass whipped, like once he started to get his ass whipped every single time, and then starting to really see that the levels of differences between him and everyone around him. And then I like that was a good motivation for him to take the serum, and it made sense. And then
the person who whipped John Walker's ass is Isaiah Bradley.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I would say like, as Walker was getting his ass whipped by everybody, like when he got his ass whipped by the Wakandans, that was like hilarious because he was just like, they don't even have the serum.
Exactly.
And he was like shell shocked. Like he was in legit, like, I need to be hospitalized shock.
Well, go figure. Warriors kicked your ass, man. Like, go figure.
Bad. And so I think that the thing I didn't like about it was, Walker, as he started to, kind of turn that heel of him. Now he's like, he's more the villain. I deserve this, as opposed to I was given this as a position or a gift. And then, of course, black sidekick dies, sends him over the edge. But as D'Angelo, you pointed out too, is like the redemption for the mediocre white dude was very mediocre white dude.
Yeah. Oh, it was swift. It was swift, and it was quick, and everything before never happened. So yeah, I mean that was one of the drawbacks of that arc, is that he goes from he murders someone he
on camera
he put a stain, literally and figuratively, of blood on the shield. And, so there should have been a little bit. I get it. They wanted to get him where they got him. I get that. But there should have been a little bit less, because then and this goes to something else that, I kind of pointed out about their villain problem, their new villain problem. It went from being too many white guys in the suit to now they're just going on and on with this sort of tragic villain, or the villain of a noble cause. and then they kill these villains, and you relate to them, and you identify a little bit with some of their motivations. Carly, I thought, probably should have been a little bit more given that redemption opportunity than John Walker at that moment. Obviously you're going to get him there, but I didn't think that was the time. I thought that was a little bit rushed.
Yeah, it was very Star Trek Next Generation ending, as far as Walker was concerned.
Yeah.
It was like it was very okay. So everything's cool now. Bye.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you just killed that dude. You know what? I understand. You killed your man's. Well, he didn't really
He's
kill your
sorry.
man, but you know what? But you helped save those people. I guess that's a little bit better enough that you're cool now. You're cool.
It's fun, and it's weird because there were consequences, right? But it's like the consequences were negated because he went and got his trash lid out of the backyard, made a shield. He hammered out. He was able to blowtorch the shield together and pop back up like everything was cool.
Oh man!
I did enjoy the scene where all of them were smashing that shield. Like everybody got a chance to smash the shield a bit, and that was great. And he realized that, oh man, I am exactly who they say I am, even with the serum.
But I think, I think if there was a weakness, it was that, and there were two things that jumped out at me as weaknesses in the plot. It was that, and Walker's swift redemption arc, and Val. I feel like Val should have had a little bit more. As much as they try to keep it subtle, and we don't know we're not supposed to know who she is, even though we kind of, if you read comic books, you kind of get the impression that they leave a heavy impression. Yeah. She was great in the 2 scenes that she was in, or 3 scenes she was in.
Yeah.
But they didn't really give you, in my opinion, enough to sort of tether her to anything.
Yeah, and
which I realized was intentional, but
true.
You got to give a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's the thing where it's like they could have snuck in a Hail Hydra or like some small little nudge just to give the non-comic book fans an understanding of why her character was there. So
and for the non-comic book fans who are listening,
hi,
yes,
can you guys hear me?
What up, man?
Okay, so sorry I'm late, but I wanted to chime in on the John Walker.
Fire away,
real quick. Yeah, it was a little bit rushed, but one of the underlying themes that I was kind of thinking about was how hard it was to be Captain America. There's a lot of symbolism being a white Captain America and the onus that falls upon you holding that tradition. And then you had a guy who went from sympathetic character, John Walker, to hated, I don't want to say pure villain, anti-villain, or I'm not sure what's the word.
Yeah, anti-hero. Yeah.
Anti-hero. Yeah, not anti-villain, anti-hero, excuse me. So what the show gives us a glimpse of in a small rush scene is how hard it is to carry the mantle of that person, of that hero. And he went through something that everybody would go through. If you saw a loved one get killed in the heat of action, blind rage. So it's empathetic to see why he did what he did, but he was wrong because he has to uphold the image of the red, white, and blue. And it's the same thing, which is weird. It was weird. I'm gonna go a little bit further back about the first Black Captain America, Isaiah Bradley, and how Falcon, who is getting shitted on, he's gotten pulled over by the cops. He's got no money, can't get a loan. And then he embraces all of a sudden the red, white, and blue. I was kind of thrown off by that. So, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like these themes were kind of forced upon us in 6 episodes. I get it. You're trying to be current and relevant and whatnot. But, yeah, so I kind of just looked at it and was like, dude, they show how crappy it is to be not only a black man, but a black known superhero. And that's all they look at you for. It's kind of like a shut up and dribble type of deal. But at the same time, they want you to represent this ideal of freedom, justice, equality. And I could not rock with that in good faith from Falcon's arc. But I was understanding the John Walker arc of trying to carry that heavy load because he had to be perfect. No one can be perfect. Only one Captain America was, and he wasn't even
No.
always perfect. He had to come to grips with himself in another
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
You know, when he had to
Mhm.
break the contract, the most American dude broke the iconic rule. He was like, I don't feel like I want to be forcing this registration. That guy,
Right.
of all people,
Yeah.
broke the rule. So he wasn't even perfect, and he's flawed. So I thought that was just an interesting dynamic between the Black Falcon, who transitions to Captain America, which I still feel like is weird, and then the John Walker arc. I thought those were really interesting comparisons and
Yeah, and I
contrasts
think
between
that
the
Uh,
two.
we were saying before too is like the thing about Falcon was, Isaiah Bradley and then Sam Wilson represent the two schools of thoughts for Black America, right? So you had the
Yeah,
white people been doing me dirty even after I did all the shit for them, fuck them. Then you have the, well, I'm hoping for a better future for people and da 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 da. He's in the army. He's doing his due diligence. And he's all that. So I thought that, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, is just like showing both of those together actually made it work, because I think you had Sam, who actually still has the idealism about what America could be, and there's a huge swath of African Americans that think like that, and then you have the Isaiah Bradley's like, fuck them. He's like, I did mad shit for them and I got nothing for it.
Well, I think also you have
well,
to sort of factor in both men were in the military. Both men, to a degree, to lesser or greater degrees, believed in the cause that they were fighting for at different times, granted. But they both believe in the military and what it provided for them, and the structure, and just talking to having several friends that are in the military, same deal. It runs the gamut. You have the Sam Wilsons, who believe in the system, and yeah, things are messed up for Black people, but we're still in the greatest country in the world, kind of a deal. And then you have the Isaiah Bradleys, who have seen the harsh realities of what America was built on, and how we were treated back in those times. You come home from a war, you fought for the country, you put your life and limb at risk, and then you get home and Jim Crow. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or like the brother who just got pulled over the other day, and I forget where he was, but he's in uniform, and you pulled him over for an air freshener dangling in his
Yeah.
off of his rearview mirror. Like, it's pretty pervasive, and like you said, I think you put it perfectly, Cam. It runs the mentality runs the gamut, and none of them are wrong. You know what I mean? But I think that's something they glossed over in the show. To Cam's point, you know, I think they could have reinforced that. What, like, again, me and D'Angelo's favorite phrase, one line of dialogue could have hit home the whole, I realize that things are messed up, but I still believe in this country, and yada yada yada. And that would have been, that would have set home for Cam and people and other people who may have noticed the sort of rush, like, the rush disconnect between Black men in America. Racist things are going on, I'm being treated poorly, and here I am still embracing the moniker of Captain America.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out when Sam Wilson just was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna embrace this." I mean, like that whole ideal after all he's went through, after what he's seen with Isaiah Bradley and all that emotion, to all of a sudden flip a switch. I just felt 6 episodes. I mean, like again, these themes, I get what Marvel's trying to do, and Marvel over time during the comics always makes it a poignant uh, example of showing real world problems within their comics. And I always felt that was always a cool thing. We always had the Malcolm and Martin thing between Professor X and Magneto, but I just felt 6 episodes was really rushed to pack all what we understand has been going on for a while, uh, like being pulled over, harassed, what it's like to be a Black man in America when you're considered a hero and they protect you, fighting for this ideal, but when you come back home, you're looked at as trash. We can't get the loan. That's a lot of things to be packaged
Yeah,
in 6
That's
episodes
fair.
for us to
Yeah.
absolutely.
dissect.
I absolutely agree with that. The a bigger thing is that I think Marvel is trying to play catch up with this conversation on race, and they are doing an okay job because they have really skilled filmmakers and storytellers. But when you pack all that in after having ignored race in your world for 15, 10, 12 years now,
you overcompensate.
You overcompensate a little bit. Sam's racial identity, and obviously he's only recently come more into the forefront in terms of a character, but there's never been any racial politics to speak of at all with anything in Marvel. So to now speak on it and to also ignore certain aspects of things that have already been established. I mean, the Wakandan connection, that T'Challa set up, did that just disappear? Was there no Wakanda didn't, there is there like no resource camps or anything that they established or any kind of connections between the two, between Wakanda and African Americans? I thought that's where they were going, but I think it's just their aesthetic is not built naturally to have the conversation of race, because at the end of the day, it doesn't deal with the real world stakes that racial conversation calls for.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with Isaiah Bradley arc, and that would have just been a glimpse of, oh yeah, we're still black in America.
Yeah.
This still happens. I didn't need the other nuances that remind us what it's like.
And I think that's the thing that's like, they went blackity black, and so they, I think they did a decent enough job to fit in that aspect of it with the overall narrative of what they were kind of going for. And so the fact that they added Isaiah Bradley at all completely shocked me. Like, I was really surprised they even went there, honestly, which I thought was actually pretty smart. But I think also to again, that aspect that you were talking about before, like, as they started to establish with T'Challa, like, Sam Wilson don't have multiple streams of income. He don't got Rhodey on speed dial. Like, yo, bro, can I get a couple G's from Tony?
He can't
hit T'Challa up.
He can't call Pepper. He can't hit up Pepper and be like, hey,
Yeah, on a less serious note, what the hell? Like, like what?
No, you're right.
Pepper got all the money. She got all her and Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
They did them
because in the comics though, like, it's kind of a, like, they've talked about, like, the Avengers Tower. Everyone has a room, so you always have a place to stay. Tony set up stipends for all the Avengers and all that kind of stuff. So that's why when Sam was getting rejected for that loan, I was just like, okay, first of all, it's just hilarious because it's very true. But then second of all, I was like, yo, this dude saved the world a couple of times. Like, this nigga can't get a loan off a GP.
Like, on GP.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it like, bruh, like what like, why are they broke?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
you can't fix a boat.
I just didn't understand it. Yeah, I just didn't get that. I was like, wait.
I mean, I guess when he disappeared, somebody's cleaned out his bank account, and then when he came back,
no military pension.
You know what?
None of it.
The Avengers remind me of the NCAA.
Wow.
Free education, but you don't get paid.
Wow.
Yep.
But
free meal, free board. We give you education, but you can't make no dough.
Shout out to Carl Lumley who played Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah.
He been nailed. Legendary.
Yeah.
And I love the bit where they were like, that bar and whatchamacallit, where you left with like a missing arm. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. A little homage to a reference to
exactly. So I think like,
and the fact that he wasn't no punk.
100%. Yeah, exactly. And I like just the addition of Isaiah Bradley just in general was cool because then it expanded the mythos of the super soldier program. It also added in and I think to me that's a little nod that could easily open the door for inclusions like Blue Marvel and like those type of characters that that now, like, there's a thing. Oh, so there's a secret super soldier that was black that no one knew about. Yeah, there was a secret freaking Superman's guy that no one knew about until this and that. So I think those little
which was
additions,
actually the story.
Yeah, and so those little inclusions, it opens those doors for that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Can I fast forward to the ending? Were we trying to invite the White Wolf to the cookout or something?
He actually did get invited to the cookout.
That was so weak to me. Like, I was like, really? Is that what this whole season was about? Making sure he was like,
about inclusion.
Like he was in Wakanda. Yeah, he was in Wakanda. How more included can
they
you
gave him an arm? They helped him out with his PTSD.
Nah, now he's got to get American cool. Like, now he's got to,
Yeah, because he had the one day he got weirded out with the Asian sushi waitress cut out, and then all of a sudden he was flirting with Sam's sister. I was like, what are we like? What's good?
That was a little odd as well with him.
We're gonna have a hot white boy summer. Like,
I thought that was funny.
And Bucky, hey Bucky.
I know that shit was funny. but it was a great use of Anthony Mackie's smirk that he always has. Like it was a perfect use of that.
Hilarious.
I'm Tupac, y'all.
Wow.
We will not speak of that ever. not for the Black Captain America now. He's grown. He's grown. But yeah, I think now the one thing we didn't speak on was the handling of Zemo in this show. And I thought out of all the villains in Marvel for all the movies and everything else, it was fun. It was cool. Like it was a good use of a villain. Like he didn't get Killmongered. Yeah. He wasn't like a knockoff of like one of the main characters. It was actually like a villain that has his own motivations. He did things that was in service of what he wanted to do. And then if it helped the heroes, cool. But then once it stopped helping the heroes, then cool too. He kept doing his thing. So I liked the way they used him, and also he was just freaking hilarious like the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he was great.
Yeah.
Wait, did he know if his eventual capture or like, and he was just rocking with it till the wheels fall off, or
I think he was just prepared.
He was prepared for all of it.
Yeah, because the Dora Milaje.
Exactly. Like he ain't no dummy. He ain't like.
If he was out in the wild, they would have murdered him on sight.
Yep.
Yeah, like he knew that there was no way around that besides him surrendering, but he also knew that he wasn't gonna not finish off those the super soldiers.
Yeah, exactly. And also but I think that's good because it showed one, he had a very clear goal, and then these two could help him with that goal. So he was like, all right, I'll rock with you until you guys no longer suit my needs. And then when the Dora Milaje showed up, he's like, damn it.
I gotta go.
Yep.
Oh, look at the time.
Yep.
I think he was maybe the most consistent as far as character, but I think everybody had like a change. Even the other villain, the female terrorist, she went from a noble cause to being like the cause. Insane. Like she was doing things that were against the cause. Everybody had like a change midway. Like their perspective changed. Maybe I don't know about Zemo. Zemo was
Zemo. But he was also a very good reflexive character in that, because he was so, and basically a reflexive character in storytelling is basically when you have a character who's there, not necessarily the antagonist or the protagonist, but they sort of is the voice of the, you shouldn't do that, or the wisdom of the script or the story.
Yeah.
Pragmatic.
Exactly. And so like he was the one that was like, yo man, in the day you have to kill Carly, just what it is.
You're gonna have to kill her. Yeah.
Let me know now. Like
she's too far gone. Yep. Like he said that.
He's like you do it, I do it, he do it. One of us needs to do it, because at the end of the day, we can't allow them.
She's not gonna stop until
exactly.
Yeah.
I guess you could say he was a realist, because the ideals of the heroes, like I could save her and
exactly. He's the realist. Exactly.
And I think
Zemo was like, nah, you got to offer.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what made the group dynamic good, because Sam was the hopeful one, Zemo's the realist, and then Bucky's the reformer, where he's been down this road before and he's trying not to do the exact same thing that he did before. So I thought that was dope.
I think Bucky tragically understood, and you could see it, that Sam wasn't going to win both of those fights. He wasn't going to reform. He wasn't going to get a chance to save Carly and stop her from doing what she was doing. And he obviously, because it's his friend, he went along with him to maybe he would be right.
Mhm.
But Zemo knew. Like Zemo, there was nothing. Like he knew it. She wasn't gonna stop. You were either gonna have to kill her or you're gonna fail to stop her from carrying out her mission.
And I think Zemo living, unlike most of the villains, I think Zemo
Oh
living
God.
and landing in jail is probably, I mean, it's a prelude to more things to come from him, obviously.
Yeah.
But he also, Daniel, what's his name? The actor who played him, Daniel Bruhl.
Daniel
Man,
Bruhl, yeah.
he played Zemo perfectly.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see a little bit more Machiavellian from him, because Zemo is usually like 10 steps ahead on everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were
Which,
light on that.
which is possible that he was like, yeah, getting captured was part of my plan. It's cool.
Yeah.
But I also like the tether back to Sokovia. And
Yep.
yeah,
That was a nice
Yeah.
touch. Yeah.
Yep.
Little
Very
nod.
nice touch.
And then even at the end, when the last of the super soldiers got killed, it was his butler or his dude that was flying the plane that was the one that put that.
Yeah.
So it showed that at the end of the day, Zemo got to accomplish his mission, and that's why he was so calm at the end in jail. He's like,
that
okay,
was?
cool. Yeah, that's what it was. It was like it was his butler.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, his butler,
and he still has resources in the world.
Yep.
Let's not forget that.
Because he's a
exactly.
baron.
Let's not forget he's a baron. So he may be and I think that was a nice touch for Marvel. You have a villain who exists in the world who still has a reach in the world. You can always pull him and use him really well.
Right.
Well, it's funny because when they found out, they was like, "Man, we broke," and he a baron. Like that was like, what are we doing wrong?
Exactly.
They was like, you got money? They was like, yeah.
I said one of my cars. Like,
what?
One of your cars? What? Who is he?
Yo, that was a good, and it was the same with when the introduction of Val, when she's like, yeah, it looks like Zemo got his way, or maybe it was me, or maybe it was him. I don't know, but maybe it was me. Maybe it was me.
Oh, she played that too. Man, she's perfect for that.
Dude, she's great. And I think
again, they should have fleshed the character out more.
Yeah,
man.
I agree.
I think if they did a little bit of a Hydra or some of a Snake or just like just one little nugget to give the non-comic book audience understanding of who she is and
who she is and why she's there.
Yeah.
So for the people who are listening that don't know who Val was, basically she's Madam Hydra, which is one of the many trillions of leaders that they've had over time, but one of the bigger ones in modern day comics. And she seems to never die, despite being killed several times.
Yeah. So she's and a great villain, a great woman villain, and then just like she's like a good antagonist to a lot of the stuff that Cap and Bucky and Sam Wilson and all of them are doing. And she's a good mix of ruthlessness with tactician too. So she has that big long arc of like, I'm planning everything, but also at the same time, she gets her hands dirty and does some silly stuff. So it's a good, like, if they do it well, like she could be a very good villain in the MCU without having to be, the anti-Cap or the anti-Falcon or the anti-Iron Man. Like he just have a villain be a villain,
And Julie Louis
Dreyfus
being cast in that character is a stroke of genius, because she's absolutely going to kill that when they give her a little bit more meat on the bone.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about Val.
Yeah. We're talking about Val?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The one thing I can make a note without giving too much away is we just got to remember Shield is always always the good guy. Shield works for Shield.
If that makes sense. Totally makes sense. And so and then I think that the one good thing I liked about the whole Shield, Hydra, that whole thing that they let play out was to show that aspect of it, where it's like, everyone that's within the Shield or anything like that, it's a mix of good and bad in terms of how it was. So Val being introduced as just kind of just there to help walk her out is a good little introduction. But like from the comic book fans, we're like, oh, that's Madam Hydra. She's OD. But by the other people, they didn't really know that. They just know that she's kind of like, snarky. She comes in, she helps Walker. She might be good, she might be bad. So I like
she's out.
Yeah, and then that was it. Drop in, say some good stuff, and then drop out. But yeah, it was good. I think the that aspect of it. And I think if they start to introduce more villains like her, like Zemo, and keep them around, I think they can add to a good villain list, because I think
Agreed.
too many times they just killmonger them every time. Like Carly was like an interesting could be villain, and then they killmongered her, and they were just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna kill her because because. So I think that actually added to a point where, if we can get more like gray area villains, we can get more, copycat villains, and if we can get more things like that, then it actually work out.
Yeah, agreed. But they have a unique opportunity with Val / Madam Hydra.
Yeah, 100%. And then I think that's the part where you can get if you do Madam Hydra, then that kickstarts Hydra all over again, but then it also makes it more fun. So,
is that Dwayne?
Look who just entered the building.
I don't think.
You can't hear us, Dwayne? We can't hear Dwayne. Dwayne, check to see if you're on mute.
Yeah, we'll get him in. He's looking good. Yeah. So then, what about the other cameos like Agent 13's, the Dora Milaje? Did you guys think that actually worked as them being entered into the show?
Sharon as the power broker was a little weak for me.
Just on the nose, felt
needed to be a little. Is she referred to as does she turn in the comics? I don't remember.
She plays both sides plenty of times, but there's never like she's a bad guy. She's like a double agent. Yeah, she's like a Black Widow-ish type person, and so that's kind of like the.
Well, Black Widow, there's a clear distinction. She's a good
bad good guy.
Where,
yeah,
bad good guy. Where Val and Agent Carter, we don't know what the hell
they're great.
They seem more like well, not Amanda Waller, but it's just great, morally great.
Yeah. So I think I think adding them in was good, and then also I did like that when they had Agent 13 come in, and she was different than what she was before, because before she was very Boy Scouty type character, and in here you could definitely say, oh yeah, you guys all were gone, I was here for 5 years by myself, I just figured this shit out, and so like she's a little hardened, not as idealistic as she used to be.
Right. Yeah, she's got a better sense of the world at this point.
Yeah, and I think, but what about the Dora Milaje?
Oh, that was about as money as you can make it.
Yeah, that was enjoyable.
Well, yeah, that part was cool, but like even all the little nods to the bigger world, because this is just a moment. Like the Falcon and Winter Soldier is just a moment of them, and the Dora Milaje comes back into the fold to remind us that, like, it's still on site with Zemo. Remember, we helped you rehabilitate as the White Wolf and whatnot. So, like, and then seeing him in action was cool. You would think Black Panther would be there, but for obvious reasons, he was not.
You guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Because,
yep.
All right, cool.
Yes.
What up?
What up, yeah? What up?
Just into the building.
But but you're right. I think that's the one thing they did a good job of, like nods to like the world in general. So it wasn't like we all knew that they're all in the same world. Like Rhodey showing up in the first episode on some just like, hey, what's good? Blah blah blah. That was good.
Yeah.
Zemo going back to Sokovia or whatever to kind of pay his respects. Dora Milaje kind of reminding Bucky that, like, yo man, we helped you with your PTSD. And
they referenced the blip,
and bigger and more than anything, reminding Bucky that dude killed our king. So there's no like, he's ours. Like, there's no discussion about it.
I like that.
I think it was a little weird that they took him
what
to
was
a
crazy
raft,
though?
That was weird.
To taking him back to Wakanda and imprisoning him.
Yeah.
But you know what was crazy though? It was still on site with Bucky. Bucky still has that I am Winter Soldier. Don't forget who I am, because when people saw him, they was like, "Oh,
that was good." Yeah,
it was like, damn.
Yeah, there was a part too. When the Dora Milaje came up. When Walker tried to front on the Wakandans, and she gave him that look, and it was comedy because I had a random white friend. He was just like, yeah, that part was kind of lame because like it's not really their jurisdiction to be in blah 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 blah. I was like, look, dude,
They don't
pray,
Jurisdiction.
pray. A black woman never looks at you like that in your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, she gave him the look of the ancestors.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what?
She took homie's
and
arm
didn't
off.
even bother to take that shit.
Yo,
Yeah, she gave him the Beatrix kiddo 5 fingers of death in his
Oh, yeah.
arm off.
You know?
That was crazy.
dude.
Yeah, she was like, don't forget
Yeah,
we
exactly.
made this. I totally forgot about
and then
that.
when they started fighting, and Bucky and Sam were giving them words of encouragement. Hey man, you doing all right?
You're doing a great job, John. You're doing great.
You know, okay, so what's crazy is that John Walker, like, I guess it would be like peak human ability because he had no super serum, but he was like peak physical form, peak Captain America. That's crazy because to even go against super soldiers, you would think he would have got his jaw broken.
For sure.
I was thinking the same thing because he held his own against Bucky, and I'm just like, well, he's a decorated soldier, so the super serum only gave him, you know what I mean, like more power.
Well, also,
he's probably really nice with the hands.
You got to also factor in that Bucky is not really trying to kill people like he was before, so he's not going all out. He used to.
Yeah,
I feel like,
but the super soldiers were, and they killed his partner. And I know Captain America took some punches. I'm like, I guess he's just that much more athletic than his homeboy.
Yeah.
But in that moment, they were also aiming to kill Cap. Like when she threw that punch, like she was trying to cave his chest in.
Yeah.
And Battlestar jumped in front of him. You know, the classic trope.
Sacrificial black man.
Brother.
Exactly. So they got the class. That's why I said parts of that. You know, I know it's controversial to say, but it made me laugh because just the way it played out.
I'm joining late, but did everybody like the ending? How they wrapped it up?
No,
I didn't.
I didn't mind.
It felt a little. It felt more Rocky 4 to me. With like everything that's going on in the world, when Rocky ended the Cold War in Russia, they want to end this whole racial tension in America. I'm looking at it like, all right, I see what they're trying to do, but I'm like,
it was a little heavy on the cheese, and I think, but what we were trying to say was the part where Isaiah Bradley was kind of like, all right, look, I don't really agree with you, but I'm gonna let you rock. And I think that little part at the end was at least okay, cool. We have two separate viewpoints of Black America, where one's a little bit more hopeful, one's like fuck white people, but all right, I see what you're trying to do. And then so I think they stuck the landing in general for the whole series. They they added a little cheese and all that, but in general, like you're right, like and plus D'Angelo brought it up too. He was kind of like, you're not going to be able to get the mantle of Captain America without having a speech about unity and
moralizing.
And like, hey, let's all come together and help the little peoples and blah blah blah. Yeah, like you ain't just gonna get the shield and be like, all right, guys, see you guys later. That was cool.
That was just weird to me, like, especially if Marvel's trying to be current, to have the image of a black guy stand up for those colors. In reality, we ain't really rocking like that.
There's some people.
Not all of us. Not all of us.
Yeah.
But that's my point about Marvel being a look.
Good, D.
But let me finish with this real quick. The lead up to that was that we had a secret Black Captain America. I'm pissed. I'm getting pulled over. I'm pissed. To all of a sudden, you know what? I'm pro everything. I was like, what?
But that's the juxtaposition, and he always was that. I don't think they did a good job of fleshing that out fully, but he was always that guy.
Fair.
You know what I mean? They just needed to, one again. Me and D'Angelo say this all the time. One line of dialogue, there are racist people out there, but this is still a great country. Boom, done. And you get the character development of he's still a true believer, even though he sees all these hectic things happening to Black people in America. Because there are people who are like that.
And to be fair, he did give a line where he says, I'm paraphrasing. He's like, too many people fought and died, and we built this country. I think that was the line.
Yeah.
So we should not be giving up what is rightfully ours as well, under no circumstances. So I got it. I understood where they were trying to go, like everybody is saying here. I do think it was rushed, and I don't think that Marvel is quite ready for that monumental conversation about race, because their world, the aesthetic of their world, is not built to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because again, you have to deal with some real stakes there, and when you pull it back, like what Cam pointed out, you have all this succession and building of things, and then all of a sudden Sam is like, despite all of that, I'm still going to represent this system, this entity that is clearly designed not for me and people like me. So yeah, Marvel's got some work to do when it comes to like really trying to have this conversation. I think that's what we're seeing, and they tried to get it in 6 episodes, and it worked a little, but it didn't work overall.
Yeah, and I think there's a good one of the comics. I think it actually is in the Falcon book, but it was like all the black characters get together and they're like just like for a funeral, but it was like 8 of them.
Yeah,
and they're just like, damn.
Was that for Goliath's funeral?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was for like Goliath or something like that. And it was like Luke Cage, Misty Knight, T'Challa, Storm, Falcon, like, and it was like legit like 8. Like, oh, word, that's it. This is us. Damn.
And
like,
then to kill off one of those characters in the next Civil War was just like,
yeah, exactly. Like, oh, Rhodey was there too. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
I think you're right. I think I was surprised at how blackity black the show was. And that helped a little bit in terms of like, okay, this actually I see what you guys are trying to do, cool. And I think they're more successful in it than say like a Luke Cage, where like Luke Cage is black, but then it was corny. Like the corn was so heavy that you're like, yo, does Luke Cage need to be dabbing in the middle of the fucking heart? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
I think
that was the beginning of
it.
Yeah, you're right.
I think the actor was like. He added that extra cheese.
Yeah, that extra cheese.
I agree. 100%.
Luke Cage on Netflix was that character in Black Dynamite at the beginning, his boy that dies, like, I am a black character.
I'm from the streets.
I am not stereotypical. Like his delivery on every episode in both seasons was exactly like that guy.
Yeah.
You jive turkeys.
100%. Yeah.
You jive turkeys. Get out of here.
Yeah. It's like the Anthony Anderson in Malibu's Most Wanted and Tay Diggs, where they were like acting like the tough hood dudes, but they were like really these button up like brothers who like highly educated, articulate, all those things.
That's the Luke Cage. Hood.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I think for having 6 episodes and telling a complete story in a slice of the overall world, I thought they did a good job. And I think that part was good. And like kind of like what Cam was saying, it was like they made sure that it wasn't in a silo, so you reference things that was happening a little bit like that. So then those aspects that you can kind of get to where it's like, oh, cool, we're experiencing a story in a slice of the MCU, and this is it's not a wizard, it's not freaking a space person, it's actually like real regular people. This is what happened, and I thought the way they treated, like I said, the blip and all that was actually pretty cool to kind of show the consequences of a lot of that. And like WandaVision did a great job of doing that too, of showing like, yo, this is what happened to all the people that didn't because they could probably do a whole show on that 5 years of the people that didn't freaking get disappeared, and that'd be a whole
merit badges for the attempt at least to touch on the plight of the black man in America. Like it wasn't perfect, and rarely is it ever going to be. But credit where credit is due, they at least made the attempt, and that is what we're asking for. Like, because eventually, and I don't mean to say, give them a participation trophy, for the spots where they missed, but I think this is the beginning. At least this is the beginning of trying to include these things in a more organic fashion.
Yeah,
it felt more genuine than honestly a lot of these things often come off. The when they announced, and this is a little bit off of it, but then they announced and we got Captain Marvel, it came at a time where it was more about Marvel trying to show that they were committed to doing films with female leads, and as a result, we didn't get the best Captain Marvel movie we could have possibly gotten.
What are you talking about? Cam loves that movie. Cam loves that
we got something of the sort of like of a preview of Endgame with Captain Marvel.
Don't laugh, Cam.
But I know how much Cam loves Captain Marvel.
It's his favorite Marvel movie of all time.
But yeah, I think it felt more genuine than that.
For context, I actually did try to rewatch it. I got through 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and I couldn't do it. I had to stop. I tapped out. I tried, man. I tried. I just, I couldn't do it. No, you're right, though.
1 minute a day.
Yeah, but you're right.
So one thing I want to mention is that with this whole like mini Marvel universe, it feels like the Animatrix mini stories. This is the in between period, and we're just finding out. The cool thing I like about this is that they talk about the emotional distress that the blip and all this has happened on some of the heroes, the minor characters, like with Sam's sister. She was like, "You were gone. We had to deal with financial stuff." So it's just not like all hunky dory. I'm off to play heroes and against aliens and stuff. But by doing that, there's a cause and effect on your close loved ones, and I think that part of it is really cool, where they talk about the little nuances of like 5 years people disappeared, life still goes on, and it's still tough. I think that part was pretty cool, and I mean a light reference to that from hearing from each of those characters they tell, like WandaVision. She was going through it because she lost a loved one,
right? And what I'm saying? And it was cool that, like you said, like say for instance, for Monica Rambeau's character, like her mom started that program that she was about to be an integral part of it. Like they were like getting started, and then the blip happens, and then she comes back and she's thinking everything is just like 5 seconds ago. It's 5 years past, mom's passed, the world's in a different state. So it was interesting to see how the rest of the world you had to see how the world reacted to those 5 years, where before we didn't really get that in the movies. And so I think the one thing I liked about the both series did is kind of fill in those gaps and then kind of show the on the ground level of the Marvel universe, when it's not in space, when it's not with aliens and mad titans and all this craziness. And so it gave a good 100%. Human aspect of it to it. And I think the things that WandaVision and Winter Soldier did good was to show those aspects of it. And also too, they had fun with it to the point where there's a lot of good tongue-in-cheek moments, a lot of good callbacks. So it's like if you're a Marvel an MCU fan that's been rocking with them since Iron Man 1, you were like mostly rewarded through the whole
you got your ear full of
it always pays off for Marvel. Which is good. And I think the shows, like you guys are saying, it's bridging the gaps. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things you can't really expand on, and having these shows, we got to see more of the Falcon. You know what I mean? Like we got to see more of his character. Met his sister. Met a few different characters. So it only just makes the movies better in the long run.
And then and it was good because 100%. You got for me, I think for the series. I was like, if they could capture literally the chemistry moment in Civil War where Falcon and Bucky were like smiling when Cap finally kissed Agent Carter. Like if they captured that was like a 30-second moment. If they captured that,
even when they were fighting Spider-Man, they was like, "Yo, don't tell anybody about this."
Exactly. Like
when they both got fucked up.
And so in my mind is like, as long as they could capture that chemistry through a whole show, then they were winning, and that's pretty much what they did. And that's exactly like the chemistry between them was perfect. I like that part was really good. It was really funny. The one thing that someone else brought up was like, so. In this world, is Cap dead? Like he can't be contacted. You can't talk to him because
he's
the way
on the moon.
The way
that's weird too.
The way they talked about him, it was almost like he was inaccessible. Like you can't go to old Cap and like, yo man, how am I supposed to do this? Like it's like he's gone. Yeah, exactly.
But they never. It's always ambiguous. It's never or they joke about it like, oh, Steve's gone. Oh, he's on the moon. But they never confirm what we saw, which is he was an old man and maybe he's gone and living somewhere alone or something.
They turned him into Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, basically.
Like in Spider-Man Coming Home, we have a definitive answer. Tony Stark is
right.
Exactly. Memorials. Whereas Captain America, if we watch the movies, we know
he's old.
He just lived his life out.
Right, he's just old. Unless in between that time he passed away from old age, but that's not like just stated. Oh, Cap died from old age a few years after after we beat Thanos or something like that.
Trust me, Marvel knows what they're doing. There's gonna be a moment he's gonna show up in some crazy battle.
Yeah,
of course.
Remember, he's a super
he's
soldier.
Gonna throw a popcorn at the screen. It's gonna be crazy.
he can live as long as a biblical character.
True.
So,
true.
Yeah, because so was Isaiah Bradley? How old?
Was he wearing like prosthetics?
Yes.
Because I'm like, he looks older than I feel like he is.
They definitely gave him they made him look, but I thought that was good because again, so then Isaiah Bradley would be like in his 80s and 90s, technically.
Right. Oh, maybe older. Yeah. Like I think he was supposed to be literally about the same age as Cap and Bucky.
Bucky, because Bucky's over 100.
Yeah, they both over 100. So no, that's to your point. Like they obviously have an extreme longevity, like without barring extreme body harm.
Like old Cap could probably kick John Walker's ass.
Oh yeah,
100%. Like I wouldn't even doubt that for 1 second. Even though he looked like he had lost all of his muscle mass in that last scene.
So how old do you guys think Cap was in Endgame when he came back? He just added another.
I would say probably
50 years to his
probably
life.
60.
No, he would be the same age. He would be the same age as when he. So he would be the same age equivalent to like had he not gone,
he'd be in his 90s.
Had he not been frozen.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying
to say. In his hundreds, he would like 100. Yeah, so in his hundreds, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like late 90s, early hundreds. So that's.
Yeah.
But no, I'm saying when he went back and then came back when he was an old man on the bench. How old was that Cap?
Right, about that.
Because when him and Bucky in Civil War, they're like, "Yo, we're over 100."
Yeah.
When they he would be that same. He would be the same age.
He would still be about 100 some odd years old because he went back to
live that whole life.
Roughly the point where he dipped out and crashed the plane with the Tesseract in the Arctic.
So then, doesn't that add another 60 years to his life? And the reason why he looks a lot
older.
older.
So then,
the way that they explain time travel, technically, no.
He's mad confusing.
He's like,
well, no. At the end, didn't the Incredible Hulk, say for us it'll be like a few seconds for him? He told him to take however long you need. So I don't know.
Exactly.
And he did. He did take however long.
And also, let's remember that time travel sucks.
Exactly.
No, it don't matter who it is. That's why I thought in Endgame when they started talking about time travel, like that conversation was so hilarious because that's literally how dumb time travel sounds.
Back to the Future?
Don't say that. D'Angelo loves time travel.
Oh man, time travel. Yeah, I mean, just there are simple ways to explain it, but the best way is to not even try.
So everybody gets it wrong.
So now that we have WandaVision, now we just finished up the Falcon The Winter Soldier. Now Loki's on the horizon. Are we excited about it? Are we indifferent? Are we kind of like, it feels like an X-Files vibe. Like it seems like Marvel's taking different genres of TV and then just using the characters. So the first one had that kind of nostalgia in terms of that situation. This one was a little bit more buddy cop, whatever. And now Loki looks like it might be a little bit more on the weirder side and like supernatural Steve.
Yeah, like Strange Tale. No, I'm really excited for Loki because it's a return to what I love in Marvel and so far in MCU, which is the cosmic stuff. I'm really excited about how they expand that part of the world. Like I do like the grounded stuff what we got in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's always good. But I'm really excited about how they expand on the cosmic part of the mythology. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Loki.
I'm optimistic because Hiddleston kills it every time he's on screen. Like he just soaks up the screen in a really great way. So, as much as I'm sketchy on the story, Hiddleston always nails it. So I'm not really concerned overall. Like I think what I've read about what the premise and the plot is going to be, I'm like, that feels a little so. But I also felt that
we
way.
talk about time travel, so
yeah,
that show's gonna be about time travel.
Yeah, I mean,
all about time travel.
But
in fairness, I also felt space. So
in fairness, I also felt skeptical about Falcon and Winter Soldier, and they nailed it for the most part. So I'm optimistic. They'll probably do well. It'll probably do well.
Yeah. No, I think
so.
I think they're the TV format for a lot of Marvel ideas works probably better than their movies, and so now they can kind of really have a lot of fun. And I think that's going to be most interesting because even now with coming up, they got this one. They have Loki, they have Miss Marvel, and they have Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And so I think like for those types of characters, I think TV format makes sense. Like, do we need a Hawkeye movie? No, we do not.
Nope.
But a Hawkeye TV show?
We don't need a Black Widow movie.
We do not need a Black Widow movie.
I know, right?
But
that would have worked a lot better as a TV series because of where they are setting that story.
Mm-hmm.
And again, now that we know that Natasha Romanoff is dead in the present, it makes it hard to care about whatever's going on in that film. That's the main reason why with Black Widow, me personally, I'm like, whatever. It got delayed for another several months. Fine,
I was gonna say it seems like they feel like they got a hitter on their hands because they keep delaying it. Like, no, we gotta release this in the theater. We gotta release it in the theater. So
probably, I feel
like they got a maker on their hands. So I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm curious, and then also with Shang-Chi. I think that's another one too. Whether
this is it. There's another one, right? Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel's coming up.
Miss Marvel. You said that, right?
She-Hulk.
That's the one I was talking about. She-Hulk. Yeah.
So I mean,
and those are all Disney Plus shows, right?
All Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So I think their TV shows might actually be the part where they win over the next year or so over their movies. Just purely because I think you said it's a better format to tell some of those narratives. Like and I think like I said, like the She-Hulk one, if they do it on the realm where I think they're going with it, which is a kind of like comedy / action, it could be cool. Same thing with Miss Marvel. It's going to be all that CW teen type situation. So like they're literally just grabbing genres that they want and then throwing their characters in and just having fun with it. So
Rhodey's gonna have his own show too. Mm-hmm. Shit, I didn't know that.
Who is?
Yeah.
Rhodes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're doing Armor.
Yeah.
They're doing,
wow.
He's doing
Armor Wars?
He's doing Armor Wars.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. They're doing Armor Wars. That's right.
Yeah. Which should be
they started filming this
month.
Yeah,
which should be interesting too. If they keep it to 6 episodes and kind of keep it tight, it could work. I think it could work.
Well, they have to because they can't afford these dudes.
Yeah, I was going to say that's another good incentive for
really
them.
The reason why it's so short.
Yep.
You're not getting them for multiple season arcs without like killing the budget. They'll be in like 2 scenes and then end credits. It will be nothing.
Exactly.
Film it all in one day. Like, we got 30 minutes.
Like, it's like, no, we don't have no time for no cuts, nothing. Everything. One take, everything.
Right.
Yeah.
One camera shot, just one pan.
Yep, exactly. And then that's the other reason why you'll start to see more characters because it's like, we gotta get actors on the lower to middle team and bring them up. We made all these people big already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But which they've been good at elevating stars. I'll give them that because a lot of the people who are like top names right now that started off in the MCU, the Scarlett Johansson, the Chris Evans, the Chris Hemsworth, even Mark Ruffalo and Robert Downey Jr. getting their second win in their Hollywood careers as far as box office goes.
Definitely.
Like Marv, the people that they actually made stars that we kept liking. This guy.
Don't hate on Ed Norton.
Hey man, just stay out of superhero movies. That's all. Go do movies with Joaquin Phoenix because I think that those two are on the same under the same imagination when it comes to what to do with a superhero property.
Yeah, you're right on that one. Yeah, you're right though. I think that's going to be the most interesting too because now they can there'll be a new crop of people they can start to bring up and it'll probably cost them a lot less.
They're bringing back Tim Roth for the She-Hulk show.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. which is a good move. I thought he was great. I thought he was great. He's probably the highlight of that movie.
Yeah.
Edward Norton's probably saying, "What about me?"
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting too, because like and then what's been good is they've been like, say for instance, the casting for She-Hulk is the girl from Orphan Black, and like she kills it.
She's gonna light work for her.
Yo, she
gonna be light work.
She's good at Perry Mason. Everything she's in, she's good.
So like that's another one where it's like this is a person that's been putting in work that's super dope, and now on a scale that other people might not have known her from, they're gonna be like, she came out of nowhere, quote unquote,
Exactly. Well-deserved payday.
100%. So man, I think Marvel's future is bright when it comes to the TV shows. The movies, we'll figure it out, but I think if they keep this track record that they're going with TV, I think they'll be fine.
Well, I think the TV shows are going to feed the movies in a very specific way. Like it's all set up for whatever comes next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's a good point. I think the smaller TV world is now going to be in lockstep more than what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they were trying to do that, but it just never worked. And now they have an opportunity, because clearly WandaVision was making some vague reference to Mephisto and his existence, and the multiverse of madness, like all of that stuff was being the reintroduction of magic. Like this magic felt more like arcane and supernatural than it did years ago, when it was like, oh, this isn't really magic, it's just different parts of the universe that's being manipulated, and it just looks like magic. Like, huh?
Right.
Like, so this, and I love that they went back to the Salem witch trials and showed that lineage of that supernatural. So the reinvention of the dark hole and all of that stuff, those little things they can do, and do it way better to set up for the big epic stuff in the movies. And they showed that with WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, with possibly the relaunch of Hydra. Who knows what that's gonna
so,
be?
That begs the question: are they going to reintroduce S.H.I.E.L.D., and do we want it back in the MCU? I personally, my answer, for me, I think I feel like the MCU slightly diminished without S.H.I.E.L.D., because I feel like it offered that extra layer of I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It just offered an extra layer to the whole MCU in a way that I feel like it doesn't suffer without it.
It felt like more the human side.
Yeah.
Us, you know what I mean? Like, we're not mutants, but we are keeping track of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think that they have opportunity to kind of bring that back with Sword introduction and WandaVision, and then also with because they still got still got Maria Hill on deck. You got Sam Jack. Yeah. Sam Jack's like, yo, whatever you need me, as long as I'm not dead, I'm there. Like, so it's like they could easily resurrect it or kind of do that. So I kind of agree though, like having like that shield element add in the human aspect of it, because I think that's the part that made Falcon the Winter Soldier kind of good, is the human aspect of it. Kind of just like got back to that grounding. So if they did introduce Shield back in, and they figure out a way that my man Coulson hops up again, I'm not even mad.
I don't think anybody'd be mad about that.
No, never. But the news that just broke the rumor that just broke over the weekend that got me and D'Angelo fist fighting over Emilia Clarke. The rumor is that she's supposed to be cast as Abigail Brand, who is the head of Sword. My man. Oh my God, I love that character so much, yo. That makes me so
into the MCU.
If they do that, I'm gonna be so happy, yo. I love that character so much.
That's fine. You can love the character, just
just fall back on Emilia. Fine.
Emilia, yes.
Yeah, for those who don't know, that D'Angelo has claimed Emilia Clarke as his wife, his forever wife.
They did it dirty in the last season, man. The last 2 seasons.
This is true.
Yeah, and that's a whole conversation of ranting and raving. Like, man, they definitely did.
We'll have to do a Game of Thrones 10 years later show.
Do you guys think we might get a glimpse of Adam Warlock in the Loki series? I feel like his name's been thrown out there. I'm like, when are
Right?
we ever
Yeah.
going to see this guy?
I think
Wow, that's a good point.
Between Guardians and Loki, yes.
Yeah, he's got. We have to see like a glimpse of something.
Yeah, and in Guardians, supposedly don't they have that Christmas special
with
or
Thor
whatever?
too, right?
And and then Thor is gonna. So
maybe I think you're right. Maybe the Thor.
Yeah, maybe
somewhere between those two.
Yeah, I think Adam Warlock's gonna pop up within those three. Like I think
because he was big in the Infinity War Gauntlet book, because I remember reading that book and he was big in that.
And then also,
so I'm wondering how they're going to use him for the MCU.
Yeah, the ending of Guardians, they had the egg in there from the gold people, which is basically what Adam Warlock is. So I think it would make sense to throw him in either a Loki layup or in the next Guardians in that aspect, because I think there's got to be a way to push the cosmic element of Marvel, because you still have the Silver Surfers, you still got all that going on.
Dude,
and like
I see the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, so it's like there's so much, and it's cool because you have the Novas and you have all that. So there's such a fun realm. MCU could easily do another 20 movies just on the cosmic aspect of Marvel,
right?
And
right.
And we don't got to hear about no Captain America, no Iron Man. It's just nothing but cosmic people. Like that's totally feasible. They have stories for it.
Technically, they got Fantastic Four and X-Men in their back pocket, so they could show a little something if they wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think
both of those franchises touch on the cosmic pretty heavy.
And I think that's where they excel. Marvel, to me, is between the difference with Marvel and DC, that Marvel
night and day.
Well, I mean, I definitely
movie wise,
movie wise, but I'm just saying, like the cosmic aspect of the Marvel world in comics and movies is like it's really well done in terms of how they have everything set up. And it
works in Marvel's. And that's part of the reason why when Guardians of the Galaxy got introduced to be a movie was interesting to me, because Guardians of the Galaxy, the comic, had gotten reintroduced in 2007 or 2008. And then that kind of really rejiggered their whole cosmic aspect of the Marvels. And so you got to see the different types of stuff. You started to, they brought in different types of gods and this and that. And so it was really cool because, they started to, because there's a good point, especially in the 80s, where they had a lot of cosmic stuff, the Beyonder and Galactus, Epoch, Nova, all that stuff. So it was really, really fun. And so that's a part that if you introduce that into the MCU, that could be a really fun non-Cap, non-Iron Man thing that could really, and then then we get black people in space, because black people like space too.
I think as much as he's persona non grata these days, I think if you were to introduce the X-Men and somehow pivot to the Whedon run on X-Men as your basis for the introduction. So good. So good.
That's why it's a little, I mean, with him, it's like, wow, dude, you should have been the person leading the charge with the X-Men and the MCU. Once they got it back, and now you're they get it back, and now you're scorched earth. They don't want to touch you. And so that's what and to me, I don't know if Whedon is canceled as much as he's just, I guess, toxic.
He's on timeout.
He's on timeout.
He's reevaluating how he treats people.
Put him in the corner and think about what you've done.
But man, I was hoping that before all this stuff happened, that it was going to be announced oh yeah, we're going to bring Whedon back, and guess what? He's going to be doing the MCU X-Men movie.
He would be the perfect person based on his run in the comics. His run in the comics was just so good. I mean, I have a high bar for everything X-Men, as we all know. This has been well documented.
He also does the ensembles well. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. He does the team thing well.
And if they did introduce X-Men like that with the Whedon run, where it's just you just dropped in, the X-Men have always been here. They've been around for X amount of years. We don't need extra
on the low.
They've been here. This is what it is, and then now we're just introducing them to the world because something big happened that needed our attention. then that would already get us past all the stuff from before. We don't have to worry about nothing else. We just drop in, boom, here's the X-Men. They've been around for 70 years. Y'all didn't know about it because you're not supposed to know about it, but now you do. Now let's keep it moving, and then keep let's get that train on going. So I think there's like so many different routes that they can take that, like, because at first I remember someone was like, yeah, I don't know what Marvel's going to do now. Like, where are they going to go? I'm like, you guys realize they
could go anywhere.
They have 1,300 characters.
Yeah.
And
the sky's the limit.
And like 200 of them are like, TV movie ready just from jump. So
pretty much.
And so
but kind of to touch on what you said, Cam, like they take like characters you don't think are going to do well. So like Captain America, like even Captain America, I didn't read it when I was younger. I'm just like, he's corny. But throw him in MCU, I'm like, yo, this dude is a man. Iron Man, select if you like them. He was popular, but he wasn't like how he is today.
Nah.
When we heard about Guardians, we were like, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, you're gonna have a movie about them, and Marvel, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, the casting for Iron Man was money. I didn't believe in it. If you're a true fan of the Shi'ar Empire, you knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were.
But I didn't think they could hold the movie. When I heard it, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna check it. It's Marvel. But
exactly. That was
Well, I think Guardians of the Galaxy was maybe the jump off for like a lesser known comic or something in Marvel's backup that became popular, and so now that's the new thing. Like you look at DC, they're doing the Suicide Squad. Like we don't really talk about Suicide. It's Batman, Superman, Justice League.
Batman,
and now you have
Superman, Justice League.
Batman. In Marvel, it's X-Men. Yeah, it's X-Men, and then everybody else comes out.
Well, what's funny too is like Fantastic Four and X-Men are like were always their biggest properties in terms of like licensing, comic books, and that kind of stuff. But then when they're, when Marvel was going broke, they had to sell off their stuff so they could, be solvent, blah, blah, blah. So them making, the MCU that they have now, they had to use all their C-list characters. And so they made their C-list characters now A-list. So now people are looking at like Fantastic Four, that looks goofy. Why would you guys do that? But internally, internally,
like when Cam and I went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy, the first thing I said when the movie was over, and Cam, you remember this, I was like, they can do whatever they want now. They can do whatever they want. Like 100%. if they can make this work and work this well, they can do whatever they want, and it won't matter. Like,
Rocket Raccoon is from 1973, 74 character. That was a throwaway character, just for fun.
They're gonna do a Micronauts
until we get a good Doctor Doom. Until we get a good Doctor Doom, we'll never have a good Fantastic Four.
No question. 100%. No question.
And I think that with that being said, for the challenge for Marvel is to be able to take their properties that are that level, the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, Silver Surfer, X-Men, and elevate them to a level of a Guardians of the Galaxy in a film making aspect of it. Because you're right, like you can't have you cannot have a good Fantastic Four anything without Doctor Doom. So if Doctor Doom's whack, the whole thing's gonna be whack. So until we know this, they know this too, but I think that's the part where they're like. Now that they got all their properties back, like, okay, cool. You showed us what you could do with your C-list characters. Now, what are you going to do with your A-list?
And I think there's an appetite for it because obviously Fox ran down the X-Men in their movies for almost 20 years, and Fantastic Four just never got out the gate, with the exception of a decent design of the Silver Surfer. I'll give them that. And part two. But then for that, then they gave us the asteroid cloud Galactus. And it was like, okay, what? So y'all ran out of the budget after you blew the budget on getting us that nice Silver Surfer. We glad about that, but then Galactus, I don't even know what happened there.
Bring back my man Larry Fish for a Silver Surfer. I'll be happy. That'd be cool.
Agreed.
But you're right though. If for them to get that, like Doctor Doom just got to be solid. And even now in the comics, Doctor Doom is a good anti-hero going back and forth. Like and so there's room. There's so much room that they have, and so I think the TV shows have definitely been a good place for them to mess around with and to show what they can kind of do. All right, fellas. So let's wrap this up and get a little couple. Let's get some final words in. Cam, you want to go first?
Yeah, I just want to mention that I commend Marvel for taking these smaller stories and these lesser known characters and introducing us and making them become more intimate to the casual fan, but to the diehards that may want to know about these characters, especially with the new popularity in the Guardians of the Galaxies and all these other characters that like Falcon we're not familiar with. No one grew up reading Falcon or Iron Man, as Dwayne put it, until they became put on the big screen, and now we get a little bit more peeling of the layers of these other characters. And so it's kind of like this animatrix thing. We're filling in the gaps between these big movies, which keeps us hooked and engaged. That's good marketing. I commend them. However, the small nuance with that is that sometimes, as with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, it encompasses bigger themes that 6 episodes is not enough. I do like it's short, it's quick, but if you tackle themes like that, you got to make sure the platform is able to tackle that theme in a few episodes. WandaVision did it okay. I got it. It wasn't the best. It wasn't as bad as people said it was. The Falcon and Winter Soldier started off strong, but it kind of died out the end. And I felt like some of the themes were a little forced. Being a black man in America, I can relate. I didn't have to be hit with all those at once. A few of them would have been fine, but that's just my own personal gripe. But however, in the overall bigger picture of it, I think it's a cool thing that they can take the smaller characters and give us a peek of what's going on in between uh, post Tony Stark dying and the next thing, maybe be the Scrolls or whatever coming up in the bigger movie. So that's my final word.
Yeah, that was dope. Josh, you want to go next?
I would say Falcon and Winter Soldier needed 10 episodes, and I think WandaVision needed 6.
Yeah.
But overall, to echo Cam's sentiments, I think they nailed the. I think they hit the right spots where it needed to be hit. They could have fleshed some things out a little bit more, but overall, I loved it. Like it was fun in the spots that it needed to be fun in. It was good, and they sort of muted Bucky a little bit. Like Bucky is like a killer and pretty much unstoppable. But I get why they were doing it. A trained killer being controlled by whoever, he's gonna go ham, and he's not gonna stop until he accomplishes his mission because he's programmed to do that. Versus Bucky with a conscience, who's not necessarily trying to kill everything that he lays his metal arms on. So I get that. But overall, it was done well. And again, to echo Cam's another point that Cam made, it works well in terms of sort of bridging, being a bridge between the last batch of movies and the next batch of movies. So I'm cool with it. I'm looking forward to Loki. I'm looking forward to Ms. Marvel. I'm looking forward to She-Hulk. I'm looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy holiday episode. I'm looking forward to the next Muppets in space. Like I'm here for all of it. It doesn't, I'm cool with wherever they go with it. I'm along for the ride.
Word. Dwayne?
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm gonna go with a Marvel, New York Nick kind of final word. Marvel is the Tom Thibodeau of movies. Like they can't do anything wrong. They could take any cast and make them work. They can make them a playoff team, just like the New York Knicks are. So,
shout out.
I generally say, in comic book movies, I always feel like you need a villain to make the movie better. And I think Josh touched on it, like Guardians of the Galaxy, like that villain was not memorable. You know what I mean? Like they were able to make it work. Tibbs got Burt killing. He got Bullock killing. He got Noel playing like Mutombo. So shout out to the Knicks.
First of all, I don't appreciate all this snickering while Dwayne is talking about the Knicks.
Church is open right now, Josh.
Some respect in your voice.
Hell yeah. Yo, today I was watching a game. I felt comfortable. It was like watching a real team play. Like I was like, okay, we down by 2 points.
And they laughing at us.
I'm sorry.
Let the record be shown. The Knicks are respectable again. You will hear no slander from me, because I've been on record saying Julius Randle, my son over there, y'all taking care of him.
Duly noted. Duly noted.
I haven't had any Nick slander lately, so I've been quiet.
I mean, the way they playing, you can't. Like, I feel like they're a throwback. The way they playing defense, they're just fun to watch, man.
That they have made it back to the 4th seed is proof positive that I wouldn't say they're back, but they've at least improved to the point where you gotta respect them.
No, I mean, they're back as being relevant again. In
they are relevant.
Yeah. So they look like a young Warriors team.
But no, yeah. Shout out to the Knicks. Shout out to the MCU. That's my final word. And shout out to DMX. I got the funeral on right now. Like, it's gonna be a celebration. I'm about to pour a drink in a little bit. So
yes, sir.
Nice. Yes, most definitely.
D'Angelo, your final word?
Yeah. Well, before I talk about Marvel, I stop. Don't say anything. Look, I just wanted to say I'm happy that the Knicks are doing good. I lived in New York for 10 years, and the whole time I was hoping that the Knicks would get better, like that they would become a team to root for. But I respect the fandom of the Knicks, so I have nothing bad to say. I'm glad to hear that. I haven't been following basketball, so that's news to me. But
wow. Are you still in New York? You still in New York? Or you moved away?
I'm not in New York anymore. I'm back in. I moved away. 2018, about 3 years ago.
2018, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna make you a common denominator, but you're not. All right, cool. I was gonna say that.
Yeah. It could be that. You can blame me. I don't mind.
I'm not.
But no, as far as Marvel, I agree with mostly everything that's been said about as far as you guys' observation, especially that it was compressed into 6 episodes for. I wasn't expecting the amount of detail that they went into on the racial politics and the social economics, all the things that they touched on. So that was a surprise to me that they were able to get that into the narrative. But I don't think that it was done poorly. I thought it was done just okay. But I like that they're making a genuine effort to push that into their narrative fabric and not continue to have a world that ignores it. I think before Black Panther and the Killmonger effect, there was no references or mentioning or acknowledgement of the Black superheroes or their identities as people of color. So now that we're moving towards that, so now exactly.
Only
so,
one, yeah.
So we're getting Blade. We're gonna be able to move past the okay, he is Black such and such, or he's we're gonna get we're gonna get to Blade, who's Blade could very well be, if you rejiggered his backstory, it could be a white vampire or a Mexican vampire. It could be anybody, but that's not his racial identity. Is only a part of his overall story arc and understanding. So I'm glad that at least the MCU is moving toward that direction in a positive way. And they have, like we said about acknowledging that they can do anything, they have the creative brain trust to put that together and to continue on. So hopefully that diversity is reflected in their behind the scenes. Because for me, it's a little bit more than just if I find out that writer's room was filled with there was not one person of color in that writer's room, it would be kind of hard for me. I have to take some of that credit back.
You're like, wait a minute.
Because it's not enough, especially in this industry, to tell these stories. You have to have the stories told by people who genuinely go through those experiences. So hopefully the diversity is reflected behind the scenes, but I'm happy that at least in the visual storytelling, they're on the path of getting it right.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I know for instance, Miss Marvel that's upcoming, I think actually all of the directors are of Middle Eastern descent, and and then the writer room is a little bit more mixed up. So I think they've been actively making that a point. So Yeah, I think for my final words, kind of in that realm where like I was actually surprised that Falcon and Winter Soldier is as blackity black as it was. Did not expect that to happen, so it was kind of interesting going to New Orleans. It was interesting, with Isaiah Bradley. I think that part of it was cool. But I do agree with Cam where it's like I think they try to almost throw too much in there when they could have just focused on a couple of things and they hit that part out the park as opposed to having a muddled situation. I do agree with Josh though. Like I think this could have used extra episodes, and I think they probably could have fleshed out that black part even more. And then back with and my thing for WandaVision has always been it was 2 episodes too long, so I can kind of I think that's my own thing. But I think in general, like Marvel's having a lot of fun in these television shows where they can really they can really hit things out the park more in the television show than they can in the movie. And so like I think they have the space and kind of the realm. And like as we're speaking before, it's like, there's so many characters and different routes that they can go to. And they're doing this well with C and B list characters that they've had in their canon. Like I still can't wait till we see all the A list, the X-Men's and the Fantastic Fours and all the cosmic, a proper Doctor Doom, a proper Silver Surfer, like they're on a good track where I'm here for it. Where it's just gonna be fun, man. I think if they keep this type of level of nuance and fun to their characters, then I think we're all gonna be in a realm of just having some good stuff to do. And so then their fan base can actually now break off to the things that they like to gravitate towards. Oh, I want to just do teen stuff. I want to do cosmic. I want to go more Punisher, dark Marvel Knights type stuff. So there's realms that they can kind of go, and I think they're poised in a good direction to do that. And so, like you said, I do agree with getting that writer's room to be reflective of the characters that they're writing, because that'll be a really important thing going forward. And so Miss Marvel is going to be the testament for that, to see how that actually works out, where they're just like, hey, brown character, oh, brown writer's room, oh, this is weird. Or is it?
Exactly. Or is it?
Yeah. We don't talk about New Mutants though, so
we are not going to.
So let's not say Marvel's batting 1,000.
Well, that wasn't a Marvel production.
To be fair, it's not a Marvel production. That is
Fox.
True.
That was still Fox.
Yes,
but come on, we understand where that source material came from.
So,
From Fox.
From Fox.
Which is really sad, because that actual source material story for that movie is actually really cool. Like it's a cool story within the canon of Marvel.
Yeah, the Demon Bear arc was actually kind of dope, but they butchered the hell out of it.
Did everybody watch it?
Nope.
No, I have no desire to even start.
I watched
37 minutes, I think 38. I got distracted. I was like doing something else, and I just didn't go back.
I saw the trailer and I was like, nope.
Same here.
There were parts of it that were cool, but I mean, it was like the low hanging fruit parts. Like, Magic was cool. Like
they were just turbo introducing the characters too. I'm just like, can 100%. You give me a little bit more of this character? Like, who are they?
After Dark Phoenix, that was one too many, like 5, however many in the franchise.
It's
that was
very
like
rare. I turn off a movie in the airplane when I'm on the airplane, because like I could watch anything on the airplane because I'm trapped. I was like, I'm going to sleep. I can't watch that shit.
They need to just watch the X-Men and just keep maybe keep
Fassbender.
The what was it, the old one where they went back in time?
Days of Future
Past. Days of Future is the best one.
And
First Class.
First Class. First Class is the best.
It's the best.
100%.
Agree. 100%.
Keep Days of Future Past and keep Logan. That's it.
Yeah. And Logan, yes.
That's it.
And the Deadpool. I like
Logan
Deadpool.
Was phenomenal.
Logan.
Keep those 3. Keep Deadpool, and then wipe the other shit off the planet.
And I watched
Logan legit got me out of my seat in the theater.
Yeah,
I watched. I need to look that up, yo.
I rewatched Logan, the black and white version. Woo, man,
so good. It's really good.
Great, man. It's great, dude. It just gives it. I mean, again, it was already a good film, but then in that black and white, it just gives you that extra, like almost old timey feel, and like.
But to his credit, Logan's dead.
Yes.
It's great.
Sure.
I mean, like they killed him off. Like that's good. We don't need to see Logan.
And honestly, I think that
I agree.
That helped the movie. Like I actually, it made it a complete story. Like I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
And unless they go
I
and
really
do
do.
they go back and he pops up. Okay, cool. But,
Yeah,
but,
that's
like they
probably
did
what they're gonna do.
in First Class, he had that one cameo. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that was cool.
Oh,
That was
he
smart.
drinking? Yeah.
That was
Well,
smart.
technically, the Logan in the MCU is not dead if he exists or whatever. But so
exactly.
I mean, they could still
That is
use
true.
Logan and Wolverine and not draw any context to that film or that story. But I think they shouldn't try to rush into doing that because Logan is still so fresh, and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is still so fresh.
I was just about to ask
defined that role.
Do you think anyone else could play Wolverine, or is that
Of course.
Hard pressed.
I do. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
do, but like, do we have to wait a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, we said the same thing about Batman. He was like, Michael Keaton was a really good Batman. Back in the day.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah. Michael Keaton was really good, and I was like, man, we didn't think the Joker could be replaced by Jack Nicholson because at the time that was like the best.
Yeah,
it was like, all right, cool. That was Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
However, we did get Heath Ledger, and I mean, the what's the guy that plays Batman now? I can't even think of his real name.
Robert Pattinson, the new one, or you?
No.
Affleck.
Christian Bale.
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 He was okay. He was okay.
Yeah, Bale was okay.
I still think Michael Keaton was, in my eyes, the best epitome of Batman. Yeah. But I
feel like Wolverine. He's gotten more movies than all those people.
Yeah.
Like his character, like he's been in like every single.
My only gripe is Wolverine cannot be taller than Cyclops.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's true.
Like little stuff like
big,
that.
That's a big. I mean, but that's a big part of the character for that. Like he's supposed to be short,
short and scrappy.
So
scrappy.
So I think they could. It was kind of like the same thing with like the T'Challa character when Chadwick passed away. Rest in peace. It's one of those things where like this could like. I hope and really hope they do recast Black Panther, just because we as a Black people need a legacy character like a Bond, like a Spider-Man. Like we don't really have that many of those characters, so let this be that one. So that like the Spider-Man has been 3 different Spider-Mans. Batman there's been 6 different Batmans. Like let that be let the Black Panther mantle be something like that. That's a legacy character that could be around. Wolverine could kind of be that same thing if they kind of do it right. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they do it right. They can kind of do that.
Walk with me real quick, Cam. So the way the Wakandans work it is like whoever's next in line.
Yeah.
Like when his father died, they all had a test to see who the next became T'Challa. So they can technically do the same thing. And if Shuri wins out or whoever wins out, so be it. So we can have that door open for another Black Panther.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to see a CGI Chadwick Boseman.
Nope.
No, please.
They already said they're not doing that. They said they're not doing that.
I don't need
that stuff is weird anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. And
unless he was already filming half his scenes.
Nope.
Okay. No, I'm just saying.
No, I agree. They didn't do anything.
Finish that off.
Ryan Coogler hadn't even started writing yet when he passed away. So
and then also too in the books, Shuri becomes Black Panther for a while, and she was dope because she was different than T'Challa, and so it was cool because it was a different take, it was a different steez. She had some of the same powers, but then her personality is different, so she operated a different way, and so like that actually would work, and it would be fun to see in that aspect of it. So you're like any character can be played by any actor, but it's just like you said, there's certain ones, like someone actually brought up how Chris Evans is now on the level of Christopher Reeves in Superman, where like he was so good at that character that's how you envision Captain America as Chris Evans.
Yeah, you think of Chris Evans.
Yeah, same thing with Christopher Reeves for the long time that he was Superman. So Hugh Jackman is kind of in that realm with Wolverine, honestly.
Oh, for sure.
And so now, it will be hard for someone to fill that role and kind of like take it to another level. You never know. We might be surprised. Marvel surprised us before when Chris Pratt got Star-Lord. We're like, what? Fat Pratt is gonna be a superhero?
When you get with Marvel, you're gonna look like a statue. So
what's his name? Kamal Namjani now. Like,
the dude's cut.
He could play Wolverine.
Yeah, at this point,
he could play Wolverine.
But I think the best way they could possibly do it story-wise is to just go to the problem with the Fox movies where they tried to make it about one or two characters as
narrowed it
opposed
down
to
one problem.
Exactly. As opposed to being about this team, this ensemble group of people who all have different motivations but they all come together when it matters. That would make it less about the actor who's playing Wolverine and about the character of Wolverine. Because now he's not being looked at as the lead. Oh, he's the plot device. Oh, I need Wolverine's blood, or I need Wolverine to be in this machine, or something like that.
What
you know,
exactly. Well, to their credit, they do it well with Suicide Squad. There was no individuality within the Suicide Squad. We understood it was a team effort. But the thing about Wolverine is he's just such a popular character. From the the comics and the animation, we always gravitated towards Wolverine. So Marvel and Fox were going to milk that cow. They're going to be like, we're going to make him the forefront. Even though it's the X-Men, it's Wolverine and the X-Men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a good point. And they shot themselves in the foot when they tried to pivot that to Jennifer Lawrence and Mystique, where she got as her star started to shine, they're just like, oh crap, we can't just have her as a sub character, so we got to put her more in the forefront.
Yeah.
But to one thing about Fox that they did do well is their casting for a lot of their X-Men stuff was good.
I agree.
Fassbender as Magneto was freaking genius, and
agreed.
It's I feel so bad for him.
Not the first X-Men, because who played Sabretooth in the first X-Men? That was terrible. He was a wrestler.
Oh yeah. What was his name? Tyler Mane.
Yeah.
Tyler Mane.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. But
there were so many
Phoenix.
Things wrong with that first X-Men movie, man.
He had like 2 lines the whole movie. It was like "Scream for Me" or something like that.
Yo, there's no action in the first movie at all. Like none. There's like
none.
I think 10 minutes of action in the whole X-Men movie. But
so many gripes.
Like Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix is a horrible movie, but Fassbender was good. Like I didn't care about Mystique dying until Fassbender was like, he found out and he was all sad. I was like,
exactly.
Fassbender spent 90% of that movie screaming at the top of his lungs, floating over wherever the hell they were,
picking up shit,
yanking the metal out of the earth. It was just. But
so
you can ask D'Angelo for X-Men Apocalypse. I had a list of things. Like I sat in the movie theater and came out with a list of things. I was typing in my phone as it went along. How bad that movie was.
That movie made my head hurt, man. I felt physically sick after watching that movie, just because I was like, how do you take one of the best like actors right now and one of the best villains in comic books, put them together and come up with nothing but crap? Like that was just like the worst look. I mean, somebody argued that the look wasn't as bad as if you're talking about a movie interpretation.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it's okay. It was.
But I don't agree with that. It wasn't horrible, but I thought it could have been a lot closer to Apocalypse. But I think physically,
like Ivan Ooze in that movie.
Straight up Ivan Ooze, like straight up, like his brother or his son that he forgot about.
Yeah, it took me like
Mark Ooze.
5 or 6 tries.
Exactly. Marco Ooze.
Yeah, it took me 5 or 6 tries to finish Apocalypse. Whew.
Oh man.
Yo, the intro was dope though. That in the Egypt
opening
scene,
sequence. Yeah. That was cool.
The opening sequence in Egypt was dope.
That was cool.
But still void of zero story, like just nothing but just stuff happening. Like it's just like shit happening. That was it.
You do not need to watch it.
I have no desire to watch that movie at all.
Don't.
Oh yeah, you're a better person.
Nope.
For it.
I'm very proud of you because the fact that you have not laid eyes on that abomination is like you deserve a medal.
There are a few there after Dark Phoenix. Yeah, man, they left a sour taste with me. Well, I was like, I'm not gonna buy it.
I have the third one.
Yeah, I was like, you gonna have to tell. Word of mouth was gonna have to tell me to say, go watch this.
Yeah,
I didn't go to the theater to see First Class because I was done after.
I didn't go to the theater to see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, actually, no. I think I did see it there. I think I did watch it with my brothers or something like that, and I was like, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
I came out with a new
Matthew Vaughn, man.
Yeah,
Matthew Vaughn
killed it.
Matthew Vaughn. He should have been. He should have had Man of Steel. If he had Man of Steel, we would have never got Snyder, and we would have never had to talk about him no more. And never.
Truth.
I don't
trying to go a whole podcast without Snyder,
and people in the industry don't know like who to bring in. Like, how do you not? I don't get it.
It's not that they don't know who to bring in. It's that there are people who like
favorites.
So like with Bryan Singer, he's made so much money that they just kind of kept throwing the movie. Like, you want to do another one? They just kind of gave him carte blanche. Yeah. So regardless of how bad the movies were and how panned they were, they were still making money from the casual moviegoer. So they just kept throwing him sequels.
Yeah. True, when you see Marvel making billions, you're like, "Fuck, maybe we should have really thought this out." You know what I mean?
Fox and Sony are not there. Like they're
or Warner Brothers. Like you would think that by now they would see, because the biggest example I said, and this is how I know WB didn't have a shot, and that was when you put Batman and Superman in the movie for the first time in the 70-year history of their existence. And that movie doesn't like literally kill all of box office figures ever. It literally underperforms. That should have told us everything we needed to know about the DCEU and its future.
Yeah.
This is Batman and Superman we're talking about. These are the
Holy Trinity, man.
Like, and you had Wonder Woman in the movie. Let's not forget you had Wonder Woman in the movie. For the first time on screen, for the first time, the big screen, for the first time.
The score was good though.
Yeah,
it's great score.
The sound design was pretty good.
Yeah, it sounded great, magnificent.
There was some good fight scenes. Good go Batfleck. Shout out to Batfleck for that one.
Batfleck did his thing, and before Whedon took him down, man. We destroyed him in JL, man. I mean, JL was doomed on arrival, but like he just took Batfleck down, man.
Different bad.
Yeah,
that's Snyder is now a verb now, so this is what it is. That's his legacy.
But his legacy is not going away. Like the people are going to write up. There are going to be books about the Snyder cut and Warner Brothers and that entire thing from the text of the narrative of the film itself, and from that as a business decision. Like, I can see it now. I know there's like a bunch of people right now working on research and trying to put that together and publish it.
Yeah.
Because how does this happen? Exactly. You can't not study it. So ironically, Snyderverse and Snyder Cut and Snyder, that name is now infamous.
I'm trying to end on a happy note, D'Angelo.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. That's the best way.
You over here talking about mediocrity. I gotta.
Wounds cut deep.
Deep, I tell you. 4 hours of your life, you're never getting back.
Oh man! And know that we did it for you, those who are listening. We did it for you.
That's kind of literally the only reason we did it.
We're here for the people. We did it so you didn't have to.
Bro. Ken, when you told me we're doing it tomorrow, and it was like 9 p.m., and I looked at the clock, and I was like, I can't even do it, bro.
Better for it.
Because I was gonna try to crash course on it, and I just looked at the clock. And I was like,
nobody watched that all the way through. Nobody sat there for 4 hours.
I think I watched it in 8 different cuts. Like, I'm like,
man,
you watched
I have.
Dwayne,
then you watch it in 45-minute blocks.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, it was rough to watch. As soon as I see something stupid, I think the first time I turned it off when Wonder Woman blocked a bunch of bullets, I'm like, you know what? Let me go for a run. Shit. I was like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
Some weird group breaks into a bank. I'm like, what's the meaning of this? Oh, no. Actually, sorry. I stopped it when Batman introduced himself to Aquaman and told him he was Batman. The first 2 seconds of the meeting, cool.
I was like,
and the Icelandic choir broke into singing. I said,
and sniffing his shirt.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hey, I got to cut out, folks, but good.
Yeah, I think we're rapping anyway.
Yeah, we're rapping right now. You know what? We didn't intend to do an extra Snyder bashing, but I'm here for it, so that's completely fine. But, thanks for sticking out. It's good, Chalk. This is Table of Truth, and we out.
Peace.
Later, guys.
All right, folks.